I have a friend who's a Mariners fan. So, yeah.
That's rough, buddy.
Your hometown team who you cheer on in the name of spirit and pride for where you're from, and it's the Mariners. The only MLB team that has never made it to the World Series. Now, granted, they've only been around since 1977, but still, that's a lot of years to miss. I'm not even really trying to talk smack on them right now, I just genuinely feel bad for Mariners fans. And this is coming from a Padres fan, by the way. My team isn't much better, but hey, maybe we'll make it to the postseason this year. But in the spirit of being sad about how bad some of our city's teams are, let's talk about a bunch of them and find out who is the most losingest city? Is that a word? Okay, Scrabble says it's not, so I guess it's not, but screw it, it's a word now. Who are the losingest cities? Buffalo, New York, the place where those wings come from, but not where good teams come from. Honestly, I don't really know much about Buffalo, but what I do know is that the professional sports teams they have, for the most part, aren't the best. They do have 2 titles under their belt, as they did win the AFL championship twice back in the 60s, and that's about it. The Bills aren't great, although they do actually hold the record for most Super Bowl appearances in a row when they made it to Super Bowl 25, 26, 27, and 28 back in the 90s. And they lost every single one of them, setting the record for most Super Bowl losses in a row at the same time. The Sabres also aren't the best, but they have made the playoffs 29 times since they joined the NHL back in 1970 though. They've won 6 division championships, 3 conference championships, and made it to the Stanley Cup twice, but unfortunately for them, they lost it both times. Buffalo doesn't even have an MLB team anymore. They did have the Buffalo Bisons and the Buffalo Blues, but you've probably never heard either of those names before since both of those teams haven't been seen in over 100 years. And NBA is off the table too. The last time they had one of those was the Buffalo Braves in 1970, and they only had them until 1978 before they moved to San Diego and turned into the Clippers. However, they did make it to the playoffs 3 times in that 8-year span, so that's not too bad, right? I mean, 37.5% is still a failing grade, but like, come on. And CFL, forget about it. I actually did forget about it. I've never watched CFL in my life. Total championships for Buffalo, 2. I guess I might as well get this one out of the way. San Diego, California. Oh man, San Diego. Not only do they have one less professional championship under their belt than Buffalo, but they've also had more professional teams than Buffalo. And to me, that just makes this all the more painful. The Padres have been to the World Series twice since their creation in 1969, nice, and lost it both times. Naturally. Their first appearance was in literally 1984, and their second appearance was in 1998 where they faced the New York Yankees. And they got swept. Awesome. And back when San Diego actually had the Chargers, they also sucked butt. They made it to the Super Bowl once in 1995 where they lost it to the 49ers. Naturally. We love a little bit of California on California action every now and then. The only major win San Diego has is yet again an AFL championship that they won in 1963. And as I mentioned earlier, unlike Buffalo, they only won that once. As of recording this video though, the Padres have a good chance of at least making it to the postseason, so honestly, I'll take what I can get, but when it comes to the good old Padres, I'm not holding my breath. I doubt it would ever happen, but if I could see them even make it to the World Series in my lifetime, I would be over the moon. Total championships for San Diego, 1.
You want to see something really scary? You bet.
Phoenix, Arizona, the place that's really hot and sucks a lot.
Well, I'd rather be dead in California than alive in Arizona.
If living in a place that was created by humans basically saying, yeah, screw it, let's put a city here, I want a challenge, is a little too much sometimes, at least you can escape just for a little while by watching your favorite sports team get wrecked, over and over again, season after season. Although this is the first entry in this video where the win they do have is in MLB, as the Diamondbacks won the World Series in 2001 against the Yankees. They took it all the way to Game 7 where Luis Gonzalez hit a walk-off to put the final nail in the coffin for the good old Yanks. And by the way, this was only their 4th season of existence, making them the youngest MLB team in history to win the World Series. Mariners fans punching air right now, but surprise, surprise, that's really it. The Cardinals, who didn't even start in Arizona, they started in Chicago, came close to the Super Bowl once and actually made it once as well in 2009, where they were beat by the Pittsburgh Steelers 27-23. Also, just a little fun fact, a guy hacked into the broadcast for Arizona during the game and showed a clip of a, what you might call, adult movie for some reason. And it took the FBI 2 years to actually track this guy down and make an arrest. Wild. The Suns, because of course one of their team's names has to be a constant reminder that just stepping outside of your home could kill you, have had a lot of ups and downs, but the ups just could never push them past that championship line. Their NHL team, the Coyotes, literally played in a college arena for like 20 years and they just kind of aren't very good.
The Arizona Coyotes of the National Hockey League will be relocating to Utah next season.
Overall, it just seems like it kind of sucks to be a sports fan in Arizona. And also living there sucks too. Total championships for Arizona, 1. We are now officially in the territory where every city from here on out has less than 1 championship under their barely holding their pants up belt. What number could possibly be less than 1? You may be asking yourself. Well, let's find out, shall we? Because I have no idea either. I failed preschool. Orlando, Florida. This one doesn't quite fit this list, seeing as how they only have 2 major teams, so this will probably be a little bit of a quicker one. The Orlando Magic have made it to the NBA Finals twice in their history. The first was in 1995, where they boasted names such as Shaq, Penny Hardaway, and Nick Anderson. But it didn't really end up mattering for them because unfortunately they got swept 4-0 by the Houston Rockets. The second time they made it to the finals was in 2009, where they played against the Lakers. They did finally get their first NBA Finals game win in that series, but like, you're playing against prime Kobe, like, what are you gonna do? They ended up losing that series 4-1, and since then they haven't been the worst team out there, but they also just haven't been good enough to get their first championship win for Orlando. And when it comes to soccer, Orlando's first soccer season was a bit crushing, as they finished 7th in the Eastern Conference and 14th overall in the standings, missing the playoffs by a single point. And since then, they have made the playoffs a good few times, but only 2 of those times did they actually advance past the first round. It's been a bit of a rocky start for them down there in Orlando, but they are still new, so who knows what's going to happen when they start to really get into a groove. Total championships for Orlando, 0. Memphis, Tennessee. Not only do they have 0 championships in their sports history, but they also have 4 teams that have never won diddly. Here's the thing though, the only team that they have/had that is a part of the Big 4 sports are the Grizzlies, who relocated to Memphis in 2001. Since then, they have only made the playoffs once in their 2014 to 2015 season as the 5th seed in the Western Conference. They even made it to the second round after they defeated the Trailblazers in 5 games, but ultimately were eliminated by the Golden State Warriors. So far, this is the closest they've come to taking home a championship for Memphis. I guess this is technically cheating, putting them so far down on this list, because a lot of the teams that, again, they've had/have are either for things that no one really cares about or are gone completely, but as I always say, it's my video, and I'll do whatever I want. Total championships for Memphis, 0. Charlotte, North Carolina. Really, the only thing I know about Charlotte is that DaBaby reps it a lot. I'm really realizing that I'm not very knowledgeable about anywhere else but where I live, and honestly, I'm feeling the most American I've felt in a long time because of that. Charlotte has 3 big league professional sports teams. For the NBA, they have the Hornets. For the NFL, they have the Panthers. And for MLS, they have the Charlotte FC. The Panthers have had some pretty good runs, particularly in the 2003 and 2015 seasons, seasons, which ended with them making it to the Super Bowl in both of those years. And obviously, they wouldn't be this far down on the list if they had won either of those Super Bowls. Their first go-around, they were defeated by the Patriots 32-29, and their second time there, they were defeated by the Denver Broncos 24-10. The Hornets are a little bit different because they have made it to the playoffs a handful of times, but unfortunately, they've never made it past the second round. They've had big names such as Larry Johnson, Glenn Rice, and LaMelo Ball, just to name a few, but they just couldn't get it done. Sometimes having a carry on your team just isn't quite enough. I know that from playing CS, and for the record, yes, it is the carry's fault, not my fault. They should have just carried harder. Charlotte's soccer team officially joined MLS on December 17th of 2019. But they didn't actually start playing until the 2022 season. They did manage to make the playoffs in 2024, and they even won their first playoff series against Orlando. They did put up a good fight in their next series, but they were ultimately eliminated from the competition, killing their dream of taking home the cup. Who knows though, maybe next year they'll be able to raise that shiny, pretty swag looking cup. Total championships for Charlotte, 0. And finally, the worst city on this list. Pause this video real quick and put your guesses down in the comment what city you think it is. I love some algorithm bait. Ooh, yummy yummy. Have you made your pick yet? Ladies and gentlemen, the worst city on this list is Nashville, Tennessee. Another entry from the Tennessee family. They're kind of having a rough go of it over there. Maybe they should just stick to barbecue, because oh boy, they definitely knocked that stuff out of the park at least. Also, real quick, this is completely off topic. I'll get back to Nashville in a second, but it's kind of crazy to me that Green Bay isn't on this list solely because of the Packers. They have 13 titles as the smallest city in the US who has a major sports team. Like, the city literally has a population of just over 100,000 people, and the Packers are carrying that city on their back. Anyways, Nashville. Unlike Memphis, Nashville actually has 3 major teams: the Tennessee Titans for NFL, the Nashville Predators for NHL, and the Nashville SC for MLS. The Titans were able to make it to the Super Bowl once in 2000, and from 2016 to 2021, they had 6 consecutive winning seasons and 4 playoff appearances. But again, as is a common trend in this video, they just couldn't put all the pieces together quite right enough to bring home the trophy. The Predators have also had a good handful of opportunities to take home a championship. Since becoming an NHL team in 1998, they've made the playoffs 16 times. Now granted, they only made it past the first round 5 times, and only one of those times did they actually make it to the finals before losing it to the Pittsburgh Penguins, but you know, they're putting the work in. And their soccer team has had their own opportunities as well. For example, they've made it to the playoffs 4 seasons in a row up until 2023, when they were eliminated in the first round by Orlando. Who knows what the future holds, but for now, their teams are just always getting cooked. But hey, at least they got some of that great smoky flavor. Total championships for Nashville, 0. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like this video and you want to see more like it, subscribe to the channel. It helps us out. And drop a comment down below too. Honestly, you can say whatever you want. Every comment just helps boost the algorithm that little bit more. And maybe even drop a like, please. Anyways, that's all the begging. I've wasted enough of your time, so have a lovely day, gamers. Peace.